It is so important now, more than perhaps ever, that we learn how to regulate our nervous system. Why? Part of our central nervous system is something called the autonomic nervous system. Why does any of this matter? Because the more stressed that we are, and we are all under stress, the more it's going to affect our bodies, even down to the very cells that float around in our system and how it ends up affecting our health overall. So our autonomic nervous system is automatic. Think of your heart pumping away, your lungs filling with air, extracting out the oxygen, processing it, your digestive system absorbing the nutrients that it needs, getting rid of what it doesn't. All of this is done automatically. So your autonomic nervous system controls and regulates things that you don't have to think about on a regular basis. Why does that matter for us? Within our autonomic nervous system, there are two parts to it. One is the sympathetic nervous system, and the other is the parasympathetic nervous system. Our sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight. Our parasympathetics is our rest, digest, and growth phase. So when we are in sympathetic mode, we are running from a bear in the woods. A car pulls out in front of us and we swerve to miss it. We have to react fast in order to save our lives. We are reacting in a life-threatening situation to survive. This is good. This is great. This is exactly what we need. But over time, it can actually damage our health because we aren't meant to stay in this sympathetic dominance for long periods of time. It was great when running from a wild bear in the woods, but now it's our spouse, it's our boss, it's traffic out on the interstate, things that are constantly stimulating us and putting us into that fight or flight mode. Whenever we are in a mode of survival, then it's going to do a few things. First of all, it's going to shuttle most of the blood in our body to large muscle groups. It wants to help us get those muscles moving, right? Get up, run away from the bear. So it actually constricts the vessels in our digestive system, because when we're running from a bear in the woods, we aren't concerned with digesting the food that we just ate, right? The other thing that it does is it will actually shuttle blood from the front part of our brains to the back part. Why? Because this is mostly motor. It's moving. That's the part of our brain that is reactionary. This is also the most primitive part of our brains. The front part of our brains is the prefrontal cortex. This is our CEO, our area of higher learning. This is where we are more creative and where we make better decisions. So whenever you're stuck in sympathetic dominance, not only is it going to take blood flow away from areas like your digestive system, but it's also going to take most of the blood away from the prefrontal cortex. It's going to put our CEO out of commission. So when people start making not so great decisions, that can be why. But also people who just feel stuck, they're not sure what to do, where to go, they're no longer feeling creative. Those are all signs that you are in sympathetic dominance. Not to mention all of those digestive disorders, things like heart palpitations as well, feeling short of breath, suddenly getting sweaty, kind of oddball symptoms that you're like, but I was just sitting here and I was fine, and now all of a sudden I'm dealing with this. Those are all signs of being in sympathetic dominance. So it doesn't always have to feel like, oh, I'm in this run for my life situation, because we aren't always getting out there and moving. Oftentimes we're sitting at a desk and it's socially unacceptable to just kind of get up and go for a run when we need to, right? So we have to bottle it all in. And when we bottle it all in, where else does it go? So that's when we start to see these kind of weird signs and symptoms that can start to show up. Because when we're in that sympathetic dominance, then there's a whole cascade of things that happen. So it's not just our heart rate increasing and the blood flow changing to where it's going, but it's also hormones. Things like cortisol. Cortisol can get increased, and that in itself can have a whole host of problems. Modern allopathic medicine kind of looks at the body divided up in like a container into these different sections. Okay, you have a gut issue, so you go to the gut doctor. You have a heart issue, you go to the heart doctor. Lung issue, you go to the lung doctor, right? So we kind of compartmentalize the entire body, but everything works together. So what do we need to do if we're experiencing this increased stress, which most everybody is, right? And it's putting us in a state of dis-ease, because remember, we were never meant to be in this part of our nervous system for all that long. We run from the bear, we get to safety, and then we're able to calm back down again. But we're not getting to safety. We're continuing to be in the survival mode because we're constantly go, 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 go. So what do? We need to shift ourselves back into parasympathetic dominance. Parasympathetic nervous system is our rest, our digest, our growth state. This is where we grow and thrive. Our digestive system gets better. Our heart rate decreases. We are calmer. We make much better decisions. Our CEO is in charge. And we just really thrive in the parasympathetics. And that is where we need to be. But we're constantly so stimulated. We're having a really hard time shifting back into parasympathetics because, again, there's a cascade of hormones. And if you're constantly stimulating those hormones, they're going to react in the body in a different way. So eventually your body's almost getting addicted to that release of hormones, or that specific, that particular cascade of hormones that's occurring. So we have to learn how to shift ourselves out of sympathetic and back into parasympathetics in order to return us to a calmer state, level out those hormones. We can do this by simply meditating. Okay, that's a great one. Exercise is going to help us as well. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to become a CrossFitter if you're not interested in it. You don't have to bike 27 miles every day. Just get some kind of movement. Even a gentle walk is going to be incredibly beneficial for you. We were not meant to sit and stare at a computer screen for 12 hours a day. We were meant to be up and moving. And a lot of times people who are dealing with pain all over, discomfort, just this feeling of unease, dis-ease, imbalance, many times it's because you're not moving and you're chronically stressed. And if you start to fix those two things, you will see huge shifts happen in your life. But we have to get control over the sympathetic dominance. We were not meant to run 24/7. We are designed to enjoy life, enjoy our time here, and we need to do that and support our bodies so that we can live long, healthy lives.